The devil is in the anal. Father David lived in England in the early 19th century. He was a Catholic executioner. He performed his executions in the Bethlem Royal Hospital in London. Father David would often say his work was to confess the sins of wantons before condemning them to eternity. When I met him, I saw a frail man in the final act of his life. He had grizzled hair and a gray, unkempt beard. The overgrown mustache covered his lips, and I could not glimpse his oral cavity as he spoke. I had heard, and believed it myself, that he had God on his shoulder always, and he spoke from the man's body. He always wore a monocle. The garb swept the floor while he moved with such small steps so that, by God, he seemed to float. When patients could no longer bear their suffering, they were taken to a separate room to confess their sins. Father David would arrive with a small wooden treasure chest and a cane. Holy Scripture, thurible, frankincense, and a tear-shaped glass vial lay in his box. The cane was topped with a cross which, if turned thrice to the right, caused a blade to appear at the other end. Upon entering the execution area, Father would first open the vial. During the rite, the patient's arms and legs were tied to the bed and their heads fitted with electrodes which transmitted electric shocks during the act. Victims brought into the room breathed heavily and their eyes rolled. The chest would strain, the neck muscles would twist. Father slashed the clothes over the genitals in the shape of a cross. The pointed end of the stick contained poison. Father used his right hand to pierce the convict's anus and held the Bible in his left. As flesh made way and Father sensed that progress eased, he would flip the stick and push on with the cross. As the victim shrieked with pain caused by the rupture of the walls of the vagina or anus, depending on the sex, Father, bathed in sweat, sang the last rites. He thus celebrated the triumph over the evil spirits which had ensnared the body. The cross was taken out from the victim's genitals and brought to its lips. Even after death arrived, he did not stop singing prayers from the last rites. Father David used to say that all mental maladies begin when the devil enters the body and derives earthly pleasures therein. When Father had completed the last rites, he would close the vial and take it to the cathedral. There he would open it, claiming that the bottle stores the devil's last breath and is best released in sacred space. In his reports, he would always note the victims were glad to die, relinquishing evil and all earthly sins to pass away clean in the next world. The faithful recognized the Almighty in the words of the Father. They truly believed in the convict's joyful new beginning. Before dawn drained his sleep of dreams, an urgent call tore him from his slumber. Prince Albert, brother of Richard the Terrible, was at his deathbed. Father's floating garb traversed the hospital. He slammed the door of the exorcism room before my nose. Prince Albert's eyes were rolling, his arms and legs already tied to the bed. As a royal prince, at the behest of Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth III, he received no electric shocks. Life was draining from his eyes. Father opened the vial. He took his stick, turned it thrice, and the knife appeared. The good book was in his right hand. He began the communion and made a cruciform cut in the clothes above the genitals. The stick tore into the princely anus. With a profound shriek, the prince's hand snapped the shackles. His rib cage stretching, he flung his arm across and subdued the father. He pulled out the stick, turned it, and used the blade to free the other arm. In utter agony, he fell down and managed to release his legs. The prince could hardly hold his balance. He lifted the father's body. When he tried to defend himself with the Bible, the prince clawed his nails in the father's face. His vision turned crimson red. The prince fiercely slapped his face. He flung him to the ground face down, tore his garb, and wincing from the effort, spread the father's bottom cheeks. He penetrated with all his might. Father cursed the devil's son. His head down, he could glimpse at the growing member between his legs. He grabbed the stick and cut off his own penis. He put it between his teeth and bit down until he could feel his teeth gritting. He wailed, drowning in a pool of his own blood. With his last breath, he pushed the dead prince off him. Then he dropped dead on top of him. The morning after, before the funeral mass for the father, the manner of his death spread in whispers. The Holy Roman Church barred the hospital from using the space where the father died. All relics from his last visit remained there, the teardrop-shaped vial among them. Whenever I pass by the door, I can still hear a discernible giggle. Last night, Mike, my roommate, told me he too heard the voices for the first time.